Crank arms. They're not pedal sticks, Ren. Right, I get it. They should be. The internet should have called them pedal sticks. They make way more sense. But unfortunately, they're called crank arms. Okay? There are different lengths of your crank arm. It depends on your femur length, or it depends on a myriad of things. Like at BMX, their bikes are smaller and their crank arms are only 162 millimeters. They're smaller. Dana, well, a shorter female would have shorter crank arms than the male. The reason why, it's a leverage thing. So essentially what you're telling athletes when you're looking at your crank arms or your pedal sticks or whatever, there are different lengths based on the size of the athlete and the sport they're participating in.
So
yes?
If you ever pay for a bike fit, is that something that
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Laura, that's a great question. If you pay for a bike fit, they absolutely should take in consideration crank arm length. And if they don't, just say, hey, look, I was at D-Chad Andrews and Danamite coaching session. They said you should look at my crank arm length. The reason why is because some bikes, people take them off and they put the crank arm length that they want. Well, it's not going to be conducive to you. And you'll notice it too. The longer it is, if you're shorter and the longer it is, like the longest is 175. And Dana and I would know immediately, or all of you guys would, when you got on a bike and this was 2.5 millimeters difference, you'd be like, something's off. And the reason why is the bigger, stronger athletes can get away with longer crank arms, and BMX bikes, when they start at the pro hill at the top, they want to be able to turn it over really fast, so they make them shorter. Does that make sense to you guys? Quickly turn over the cadence, high speed. So up there, when they drop the gate at 162, which is probably about there, even the bigger guys and women have smaller crank arms because they want to be able to turn those legs over quicker.
Those bike sizes, they're like
with the bike size, it should come with the commensurate crank arm length.
Okay.
But again, some women have 32 inseam and others have 26 inseam. Really, it comes down to your femur length. But 99% of the bikes are going to come with, and I don't want to get bogged down, but if the bike is bought correctly, then it's probably going to have the parts that work best. I mean, again, this is just information, but if you notice that an athlete's really struggling or their cadence is really weird, that might be something you might want to consider, is that this is just too long. So, all right, next up, anybody know what this is called? Pedal. Is this a clip pedal or a clip-less pedal? Clip-less, which is weird, because Dana and I had that same discussion about why is it called clip-less. It's just called clip-less because you're not technically clipped in with toe straps. You're clipped in with the bottom of your cleat. So, clip-less pedals.
Love it.
Why would you put your feet in and attach them to the pedals?
More power.
More power, better range of motion, more efficient. Because if you are attached to the pedal, think of it from a physics standpoint. You have the more opportunity to use the muscles, quadriceps, hamstring, all the way around. But if you're just with your tennis shoes, you've got one angle, and that's down. So that when you try to come up, you're not able to pull back through the pedal stroke. Does that make sense? And that's the whole thing. It's efficiency. Efficiency. You're way more efficient here than you are. And conversely, and I'm going to let Dana jump in a second, is that everybody's like, well, I don't want to do it because I'm going to fall. I'm sorry, but
You're gonna fall.
there are two types of cyclists.
Those
Who have fallen and those who will. 100%. They're all going to ask you and say, well, why should we clip in? Here's the reason. Then why aren't you? Then you have to be ready to be prepared to answer that question. I'm not comfortable yet. I want you to do you, but here's the reason why we clip in. Got it? All right, Dan, you want to take over some of the other bike while I hold it?
Not saying that you have to obviously, push riders to use clipless pedals, but it's that much of a difference. I mean, I would have liked to have had them on clipless for 25 to 35 miles because it is more efficient. It's safer. I mean, how many times have you been riding and you hit a bump and your foot flies off and then you get the slam on the shin? That doesn't happen when you're in clipless pedals. So not only just for safety, but it's also obviously just the main thing is more efficient. The great thing you can do when you start to fatigue, when you're clipless pedals that you can't do when you're on flats, is I tell people when you're starting to feel tired, then lift up. I tell them play hacky sack with the clouds because you're pulling up, and that just changes which muscles. Yes, you're still using your leg muscles, you're still fatiguing, but you can overemphasize certain muscle groups when you're clipped into the pedal. When you're clipped in, you can also overemphasize scraping back, like you're scraping mud off your shoe, and it gets the calves to work for a little bit. You're not going to pedal 25, 35 miles like you're scraping mud off your shoes, but when you're really, really tired and you just got to find some reason to keep pedaling, those are all little tricks that clipless pedals allow you to do. And then one of my fun things I like adding, just my former life, I was a teacher. Clipless pedals make sense, just like shifting kind of makes sense when you kind of look at it in a certain angle. Clipless pedals are called clipless because before clipless, the history of cycling pedals is, were the flats, of course. Then they added toe clips. Like, okay, it's gonna be better. Instead of just having your foot there, let's put a little contraption, and it was called a toe clip that you actually had to physically flip up. And then you tighten up the strap. And that caused, that was great and it was a big advantage. But then when, I think it was from ski binding, someone got the idea like, okay, instead of having to reach down and tighten that thing, maybe we can do a ski binding type things. So since you had flat pedals, then you had, which were called platform, then you had toe clips, and now we no longer have that toe clip anymore, so we're gonna call it clipless, just because it's not a toe clip, even though we clip in. So when you know the history of pedals, it makes sense that, okay, they're clipless pedals because the toe clip part is gone, but we still clip in.
Of the magnetic, instead of the regular clipless, the magnetic ones?
I personally have no experience with it whatsoever.
Just curious.
Oh, yeah, no.
Didn't even know those.
Laverne has experience with magnetic. Maybe she can help.
Laverne? Hey, Dane, you want to give her the mic?
Oh, I don't need a mic.
Laverne, like, I don't need a mic. Get away.
It's not like they call them magnetic pedals, but it's not necessarily magnetic. What happens is they call them, it's the biathlon pedals, and it's the step before you go to clipless. So in your pedal, they got slits cut.
Yeah.
And you put your cleat on the bottom of the shoe, and what happens is it locks into that pedal.
It goes in.
But you still get some pull, but it's not as efficient as the clipless pedal. Because your foot, it easily comes in and pops up, but it's a groove.
Like that's an ed. Go ahead,
It gives you
Laverne.
more of an edge than the flat because it actually locks you into it while you're pulling here. But if you're trying to pull up, your feet can come out. But your flat, you can just slip off.
So it seems like it gets you halfway there.
Yes, it gets you halfway there.
What if I did one?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of pedal systems, SPD, these are called candies. They have them on the both sides as well that you can clip in. Really, to me, and I'm going to keep, Dana and I are going to keep referencing this, we're dangerously close to get into the whole nutrition conversation, meaning it could go on forever. Essentially, what we want to tell you guys to pass on to your athletes is clipless is the most efficient, but you do what you feel the most comfortable doing.
Right.
But if you truly want to be an efficient cyclist and you want to improve your time in the triathlon, this is 1,000% the choice. It is. Yes, Hillary.
All right, so with our beginners and intermediates and newbies, we do not encourage clipping in before the race. If it's something they want to do after the race, that's fine. But just so you know, because we don't want them to try new things while they're gearing up for this first
Totally
triathlon.
fine.
Okay.
The question will come up though. Why are some of you clipped in and why are you some are not? And you could say, you could preface it with a safety message, which is what Dana and I are here mostly for, is we encourage you and we say, don't clip in until the event. Because really, theoretically, you're there to learn the first event. All of you guys were there the first time you did it, and the second time you're doing it, you're like, you want to beat your time. So what's the next step? You guys are already a step ahead of them. You just say, hey, look, the protocol that we use here is don't clip in until after your first race. If you're already doing it, fine, but it's a safety precaution that we don't want you to get injured. But if you want to know why, it's because it's more efficient, more economical, period, end of story. And then you can leave it right there. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
All right, so moving up next. Dane, you want to tackle the next thing?
So the other run call it the cockpit. So it's everything that you're using to control the bike, and that would be the handlebars, the brakes, the shifters, and it would include the fork and of course the front wheel. And with this is a big piece, and one of the things, a lot of bikes, standard stock, especially for women that I don't like, is they come with 42 centimeter handlebars. Most of us, our shoulders are not that wide. So, and again, I think for you guys, one of the big hurdles you guys have is, you know, these ladies come with all kinds of bikes. We just got to get the bike, we're not going to get it perfect. Even if they get a bike fit, the bike fit might say, you got to swap this, but it's their first time doing that. They might not want to put the money into it. So that I say, I still encourage a bike fit, even though you're not going to get, you know, 100% this bike fit for you, because what bike they do use, they want it to be as comfortable as possible. But certainly if, you know, hopefully they get hooked and they love it and they want to keep riding, that's when it is imperative to really dial in this cockpit area. And usually the women, the first thing you have to do is get more nearer handlebars. The brake and levers, of course, this again, you guys are going to have to help them learn all the bikes that come to the clinic are very different, whether they have the shifters behind the levers or it's shifting down here or there. So that's where I really commend you guys. I guess what I'm having a hard time saying is really commend you guys, because I know how hard it is to teach people when we get exactly the same bike for, you know, all the employees, and I'm telling them this is how you should decide. Well, you guys have that whole extra bag of worms you have to deal with, and that's okay. And it doesn't limit what you can do. It's just it just makes your job more difficult, is all. So the bike fit's important, and again, considering like, hey, the bike's not going to be perfect, but it is worthwhile to what small changes can be done. How high should your saddle be? Can we do? There are short changes like a stem. A stem could make a big. If their reach is way too far, then it's dangerous. When it comes down to danger, of course, obviously, it doesn't matter the cost. You're going to change it. So if their stem, they come all different lengths of 120, and I think the shortest is down to maybe 80. The stem, if they're reaching way too far and they're having a hard time finding the brakes, then a bike fit with getting a shorter stem is certainly something that they should be done, because safety's at risk. So the bike fit is an important part, because you want as best as possible for you and the bike to feel one, and that starts with having a good bike fit. Now the other thing we talked about is the saddle. And we don't call it a seat, we call it a saddle. And that's another huge thing. And ties in the cockpit, that's one contact point. That's where your hands are reaching the saddle. Your bum hitting the saddle is your second contact point. And we already talked about pedals, your feet being the third contact point. And those are where we get our trouble areas, where we get either hot feet or sore feet, we get numb hands, or a sore bum. And I'll add that, because especially being a woman, I can speak to finding the right saddle is very important, and that is worth time and energy to get that. And notice one small thing that thankfully from my experience I learned, people just sit on the saddle wrong. So a lot of times they keep changing the saddle and they're really just sitting too far up. So the saddles have this funky shape so that you have those sit bones. Those bones, if you sit down and you wiggle around, you feel your ischial tuberosities, bones. That is where you want on the highest part of the saddle. And what happened is, as we fatigue, I don't know why, but I've seen it over the 10 years doing the corporate ride, is we scooch forward. The more tired we get, the farther we scooch out, which means more pressure on that soft tissue. So finding the right saddle is one thing, but also making sure that you and your mentees are sitting on the saddle properly. So that's one of our cues we have that we'll be reminding you, is telling them to push back in the saddle so that they are keeping that soft tissue in the kind of cavity area and not compressing it onto the saddle where it's not supposed to be. I mean, a lot of time and energy is spent on saddle design, and you'll see a lot about width and all of that, but if you're not sitting on it properly, it doesn't matter how fancy of a saddle you have, it's not going to do the job. It's kind of like wearing your seatbelt wrong. It's not going to do its job of keeping you safe. By a lot of and how to help with that is stores have saddle where you put money down as a deposit, try out saddles. That's worth looking into. Some shops have that, and that way you're not buying 3 and 4 and 5 saddles. So it's worth a phone call to find. I'm not from this area. I don't know which shops have it, but find a place that does have that saddle tryout phase where, you know, depending on the brands they have, you at least can try certain saddles, and then that deposit goes towards your purchase.
Okie doke. Any questions on that?
Yeah. What do you
Yes,
think
Laura.
about the squishy saddles?
Ah, the squishy saddles. Negative Ghost Rider. Think of it like this. Squishy saddles are very much like a pair of chamois and shorts that are too big. You get bunching in the areas where all the soft tissue is, and it can create a cut that will be there for a long time. You want firm, and you want shorts that fit tight. And I know some, like, we're all different in how our comfort level on tight, but you want your shorts with your chamois fit tight. You don't want any loose stuff going around because that will cut you up. Anybody been cut by a seam or a saddle or gotten saddle sores because of it? It is sucky and it is not fun. So, squishy saddles, that's why Dana implored you guys to get, you have 2 choices. There's discomfort in cycling and uncomfortable in cycling. And then there's downright pain. Should never be in pain. So if you're getting pain in the soft tissue area, 99% of the time it's either the pitch of your saddle or it's the wrong saddle for you. Saddle is the most important thing on your bike. It is the most, and it comes from horsing from equestrian field is the reason why I call it saddle. Tacking and all that stuff, 1800s. So instead of a seat, that's why they call it the saddle. It's Dana's story about the other thing that we're talking about. So it's the most comfortable. It's like, but it hurts, you know, mentor as me. And it's like, well, let's clarify hurt. Hurts like you haven't ridden a bike in 25 years and it's uncomfortable, or like true pain. And that's where you guys as mentor are gonna have to divide and conquer and go, okay, as a collective, we're looking at her on her bike in the seat. And if you see somebody just moving around a lot or whatever, there's a lot of things that go into it. It's either bike fit or saddle's wrong. Those are the 2 most prominent reasons why somebody's not comfortable on a bike. And here's the problem. Here's what you guys are gonna run into, and you guys probably experienced it yourself. You got a bike either for free at a discount or you've had it for years. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, and Dana and I talked about this, if you have several things, because the question is gonna come up. I've been riding a while, so you're gonna have, I haven't ridden a bike in 30 years, or I've been riding a bit, but I wanted to try Tiffle and try it for life. The more experienced ones usually have had a bike fit, have a bike that fits them, or whatever. You're gonna have the inexperienced one and say, I got this off of eBay because it was $100. There's a high likelihood that bike is not gonna fit them. Yeah. And there is number one disadvantage that you're gonna have to quote unquote compete at your first triathlon. So that's why we're okay with you not clipping in. We're okay with having a bike that's ill fit. We're okay with these things because the objective of Try It for Life is to get women into and active into the sport of triathlon. But the next step, it's gonna come and they're gonna ask, well, does my bike fit me? Oh, powder keg. That's not something that, it's taken years for me to look at someone and go no or yes, and it's gonna be more of a challenge for somebody who's just gotten into it as a mentor. So you're gonna have to say, I would suggest to go to a reputable bike shop to get a bike fit. That way you've passed it off and you're not having to deal with bike fits on your own, because that becomes a complicated mess. Just let them know that you're gonna be at a disadvantage. If you have a hybrid bike, you're not clipped in, you're not gonna be at the same thing as Dana's bike that has 700 seat wheels and is built to go fast. Did anybody experience that the first time they did one?
Oh, yeah.
They were like, you had a bike that was wrong or ill fit or whatever? And how many of you guys actually went to another bike that actually fit or a saddle? Raise your hand, how many of you guys did that? That's a huge amount. And if the current you could go back and tell the past you to go, that's not the bike we need, but you don't. That's the whole purpose of Tiffle, is getting people into it and then experiencing it and then making the decision on whether to get a new saddle or a new bike. Yes, Susan?
Do you have a recommendation for a good bike fit? I know you said reputable bike stores or whatnot, but do you
Any of the big bike stores usually have somebody that's a pretty good fit. Bike Source, Uptown Cycles, Trek. They all have somebody that can look at you. Now, there's looking at you, and then there's a True Bike Fit. True Bike Fit, it's going to be like $250. So therein lies the complication. Yeah, and Francisco Montero can do it. Yeah. All right, saddle, crank arms, pedals, wheels, easy, handlebars. This is what we refer to as the stem. Everybody see that? So mine happens to be what we call integrated. Most of the bikes that you're going to see are not integrated. They're going to be where you can change the length of them or whatever. This is a pretty big risk and a pretty big gamble. But most really high-end bikes have integrated stem. All right? Top tube. Seat tube. That's where it gets confusing. Wait, it should be called a saddle tube. We get it. We get it. You got us. But it's a seat tube and a saddle. Again, the stupid world of cycling. There are going to be things where you're like, what? All right? I'm not worried about these or these, but the down tube, the seat tube, and the top tube are probably going to be the most important. Will you get questions about it? Probably not, but I still want you guys to be able to look at your thing that we sent you and go, oh, that's the top tube. All right? Fork. And what on my bike, what is this?
Disc brakes?
It's disc brake. Just like your car. New technology over the past 15 years increases braking, but a lot of the bikes that you're gonna get that are free, are $100 or whatever, are gonna not have that. They're gonna have what we call cantilever brakes, which is what Dana's bike is, or the most of your bikes. They pull here on the rim versus down here where the stopping power is. Everybody got that? Dana, you want to show them what that cantilever looks like? Oh my gosh, this is so responsive. So responsive, like disc brakes, like on your car. That's why disc brakes are on your car. You see Dana's where they are? Most of your brakes are going to come from there. Got it? Most of them. Until like 10 or 15 more years when this becomes the standard. Last thing before I pass it off to Dana.
Chad, where's your kickstand?
I know, right? Dana could have said, well, no. Chad's my kickstand. So, what is this thing called? Gears, or in the world of cycling, it's called a what? Cassette. Now, Laverne, what is the individual ones on the cassette called? A cog. Got it? Cassette is the big one. Cog is each individual one. And if you'll notice that every single one of our bikes has a different cassette. Every bike does. And when you get a bike that's brand new, you don't know what kind of gearing you have. Now, this is where Dana and I kind of had an implosive conversation about what it's called. If you're in this gear right here, I don't care about the front. The front of the bike does not exist as far as we're concerned right now. Everybody got that? This half of the bike does not exist. Does not exist for the purposes of this conversation. It only exists from here back. Is this the gear that you want to go really fast downhill and rip everybody's legs off, or is this the gear that you want to climb a mountain on? Climb a mountain on. Yes. Now, we're going to be very, very specific here because we're going to go over this, then we're going to take a short break and let you guys get on the bike. But this is the most important thing. When, and I'm not even going to bring up the what if in the world of bike racing or whatever it's called. When you guys are coaching this, please, 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 when you say to somebody when they're going up a hill, just please say shift easier. How do I shift easier, Coach Fran? Or Coach Anna? Or Coach whatever? Oh, if you want to do that, then what you're going to do is you're going to push your gears. Remember, there's like 15 different gears, so that you push your chain up to make it easier. So you're going to make it easier by having it climb up this. And the reason why is because when you say in the world of cycle racing, shift up, it actually means counter that, and it means make it harder. And everybody's like, I am shifting up. But the way that I looked at I said, Dana, in my opinion, if I'm looking at this from the back, to me, this looks up to me, and this looks down. But in the cycling world, that's not the case. So we just came to an agreement that as far as you guys...
That's a good point.
I don't think that was it. It was a pseudo agreement. Is what it looks like.
A pseudo agreement, but again, Dana was being very literal. In the world, if you pull it up, it says shift up, and it makes it harder. But then when we were teaching it, it was like shift up. They were like, what? What? And then I was like, no, it's shift easier. How do you make it easier? You put it in the biggest one. How do you make it harder? Put it in the smallest one. Then from there, you can decide on how they do it on their shifter. Cool? And then you could say, well, Chad, how does it work on your shifting? Well, I have SRAM axis that's designed for my gravel bike. So it's going to be completely different from everybody else. So at that point, you as mentors are going to have to identify the kind of shifting that they have. And you may have to learn something there. I do it all the time. I look at it and I go, oh my God, this is Campanola. I haven't used that in years. How do you shift that to make it easier? Not how do you shift it to make shift up. How do you make it easier? Because really, in the end, that's all you guys want to know is, how do I make it easier so I get up this damn hill? Because every diva camp in the past we used to have finished on a damn hill. So how do we make it easier?
You get off the bike and you walk.
But today when we're riding, when we say shift easier, we want you to show us that you know how to shift easier, and then we're gonna have you guys explain to us how you shift easier.
But that's particular to your bike.
It's two different scenarios here. It's always going to be the bigger one in the back that makes it easier, 100%. Now the size of it determines how much easier it's going to be. Because if Dana's climbing on the gear, you can look at Dana's gear in the back versus my gears in the back. I can climb,
Yeah, but you're
a
on
mountain on that. Whereas Dana's bigger one is smaller, so she's less likely to be able to climb a mountain than I am.
But that's not her goal on that bike.
Correct. There's a different. Now, if she went in the mountains, it's very simple. If she went in the mountains, all she would do is take that wheel off and put one on that looks like mine. And I'm dead serious about that.
That's right. I need a bigger cassette.
It's changing, and now everybody's like, well, that's more money. It's like, well, then you have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Charlotte riding, mountain riding. Makes sense? So the bigger it is in the back, the easier it is.
In the back.
In the back.
We're gonna talk about
And
the front soon.
in the front, sorry, but it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Everybody got that?
It's all gear ratio. It's all engineering.
On the front, it is opposite. And this is where Dana and I really got into it because she's a track athlete, world champion on the track, and it all comes down to gear inches. So for Dana, it became about gear inches, and I'm like, oh Jesus, we can't start talking about gear inches because then everybody's gonna be glassy-eyed. Then we agreed about that. But in the end game, and Dana's getting ready to show you, which is the coolest thing in the world to help you understand the concept of gear inches, and then when you're in a particular gear, how much further you can go with one pedal stroke. Everybody got that? So then that way it clicks to you to go, oh, well now that makes sense. The bigger it is in the front and the smaller it is in the back, the further the bike will go with one pedal stroke. And that's where it clicks. So Dana's gonna show you with a bike that's got a small chain ring in the front. Chain ring, this is a chain ring, and you may notice mine is one. That's the way gravel bikes and some bikes are going to have one by. This one called one by. This is a two by, which is where the standard's been for 30 plus years. They're tinkering with the technology to see what's gonna work the best. Got it? So I've got one by. Now here's the weird thing about it. The bigger the gear is, you can only have, some bikes have 10 speeds. This is a 12 speed. So I have more gears to be able to use, but I also have less because I only have one in the front. So what they did is they made a huge gear ratio change there, and there's some gears that I miss out on. So like if we're in a group and I'm trying to pedal, I have to kind of find a gear. Whereas on Dana's bike, she clicks and it's perfect. Clicks, it's perfect. Mine is kind of like, that one's too easy and that one's too hard. So what Dana's gonna do is she's gonna show you what it means to be in the big in the front and the small in the back. That's your biggest and hardest gear.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does your shifting give you an advantage? Your electronic shifting?
Does electronic shifting give me an advantage?
Yes.
Battery's not.
Yes, but it's bougie as hell too.
You're in the right neighborhood.
Absolutely. I mean, you can hear. Listen to my bike when it shifts. It just goes. "Wee." You might not even hear it. They are mechanical. You get cable stretch, whatever. This is just electronic signal down to that, and it shifts. And
No, I don't have
but is it an advantage?
That's the difference.
Yes. But there's a big but. Is it expensive? Yes. But it's super. I would not ever upgrade a bike from electronic to the bike you have unless you have a really nice bike. Does that make sense?
Or you want to sprint.
Or you want to sprint?
So I'm fortunate. I got, as you can tell from my legs, I got some flat. I was gifted with a good bit of a fast twitch muscle. So the electronic shifting is an advantage if you are a sprinter, especially, and you're competing, obviously, because in sprinting, that's where you see your inches from each other. Because every inch you're farther back as another. You got to make up that inch with your own power. So the closer you are to that wheel in front of you, that's why it's so chaotic. If you ever watch Tour de France and the sprinting, is every millimeter matters. And so a misshift could mean you lose half a bike length if it misshifts. So that is a big advantage when it comes to cycling. It's also nice just to have one less thing to worry about. So if you really love the sport, and you don't worry about the shifting and filling with it and getting caught in between gears and potential for dropping. You're never say never, they say, but I don't think I've ever dropped the chain with the electronic shifting. So if you want to take a worry out and you have the money and you can do it, it is nice to have. So I'll tell you a little secret, we're all a hot mess because we show up here and I swear I charge my bike less. So we have the electronic shifting, but you know, just like a seatbelt, we were saying, and just like things on the bike, if you don't sit on the saddle properly, it's not going to feel good. My bike's not shifting for some reason, and it's electronic. And Chad, when I went to grab his bike, because my bike's not, I'm like, oh, I'll use Chad's bike for the demo. Somehow there's no battery in it.
Very clearly.
So whoever's bike this is, kudos to you, because one, it's clean, it's shifting perfectly. Whose bike is it?
It's mine.
Is it nice? I was like, let me grab the other, and that's another thing though with shifting. You always, if you ever do that, and I've learned this the hard way. You travel, you don't know it's being engaged the way you had your bike. If it's on a rack and it's being twisted, so that's firing the whole time you're traveling, draining your battery. So there are extra things that there's a lot to it, but then there's also your own maintenance and upkeep. So I'm going to use this bike to show you, and this is where I rolled my eyes when Chad said, because she's a tracky. Oh, go ahead.
How often do you have to charge your bike?
Good question. It's not often. I mean, if I'm riding regularly, every 2 months. If I'm riding 4 to 5 times a week, and it'll give you a warning. You'll it first won't shift big to little, but you'll still have all your cassette. So that's your warning. It's getting low, and you'll know you have to charge it. And unless you're charging, you're shifting.
Into like manual shifting or not?
I know.
No, it does not. No, that's the thing. Once you're out, you're out. Yeah. To show you and this is where I was like, it's not just a track thing. It's gear inches, which has to do with bicycling itself. So when you're in your smallest gear, why it's called a low gear, even though you're not shifting low on the cassette, when you go into your lowest gear by gear inches, you're going up the cassette because you're trying to make it as easy to pedal as possible. It's a low gear because of the gear inches, meaning how far you get per pedal stroke, and that's also why it's easier. So we're gonna go one. Chad's gonna show you how far we can get with one pedal stroke. And that's it. That's what, maybe 2 yards we get with one pedal stroke in our easiest gear. We just call it the lowest gear, which so that's why we say, when we say shift up, in cycling, we really mean in gear inches shifting up. When we say shift down, we really mean smaller gear inches.
Now you guys see why Dana and I had the heated discussion.
So
We're going easier and harder. That's it.
When we talk about easy hard, we're just about change direction, not low high, because low and high makes it adds confusion. So after our discussion, I was like, hey, yeah, true. To teach beginners, it makes more sense. Forget about high and low in terms of gear inches. Just talk about what makes it easier, what makes it harder. But I think it's important for you to see why it's called that. why it's called a low gear. It's called a low gear because you only get a few inches per pedal stroke. All right, so this, I think we're gonna run out of space. So here's our biggest gear. So we get the highest distance in this gear.
You aren't going to get
That's a
halfway
good
around.
demo. That's a good. Run Marie over.
Gives you an idea, though, right?
You can see we would get all the way over almost to the end of the grass for one gear. So that's where the whole that's where the confusion comes. But when you think about it and look at it, it makes sense. But for teaching beginners, we're going to go with easy and harder, and then at the worst, they just shift. Did that make it easier? Did it make it harder? Okay, then go the other way. So it's just a figure out thing.
Is this harder or easier?
That's harder.
What gear, anybody can chime in, what gears on this bike, don't tell me numbers or whatever, but just tell me physically what it looks like, is the hardest gear to push?
Big in the front.
Big in the front,
Big in the front, small.
And a little less in the back.
That's where everybody that's not an engineer or physician or whatever, physicists get it. They're like, well, of course. But 99% of the rest of us, it doesn't make sense. It should be big and big, right? To make it the hardest, but it's not. It's just opposite, and it comes down to gear inches, as what Dana was saying. Yes, Sandy.
Go back to what you were talking about, the cassette. That's smaller because you're pedaling less. More
I'm sorry, say that again?
The cassette here is smaller, so you don't have to pedal as the rotation is.
No, so that's a good point that you brought up, Sandy. Sandy asked, we don't have to pedal as much because it's in a bigger gear. No,
No,
I
not pedal, the cassette size.
right.
Okay,
That's
okay,
but that's
that's
what I
what
mean.
you-
The cassette size. In order, you don't have to pedal as much because it goes further with one pedal stroke. Is that your question?
Yeah.
No. So what this is designed, and this is where I think everybody gets stuck. Essentially, you should, and again, this is where mechanical efficiency Dana and I are going to talk about, and what you guys are going to pass on to everybody else. 85 to 95 average RPM is the most critical and the most efficient you could ever do. However, every beginner cyclist never starts there. So in this gear, you should theoretically be able to pedal 90 RPMs. I, myself, it's going to be hard for me to get to 90 RPMs. I'm going to have to be sprinting or going downhill to do 90 RPMs with this kind of gear. I just would. So that's why it's funny, a lot of amateur cyclists, you see virtually nowhere on those two gears down there because they're just not strong enough quite yet to be able to pedal that or use it efficiently. Or if you're using it most of the time, and what we'll do is I'll show you an example. I'll hop on and I'll show you kind of what it looks like for beginners and what it's going to look like to you guys when they get on it and they're in a gear like this. It's going to look just like this. You guys kind of. That's it, right there. That's what it looks like.
The way his turnover, the way his feet turn over.
Thank you, Allie.
You are smoked. So that's where, when we get in the second portion of this, when you guys get on the bike, being at 85 to 95 is the most efficient you could do. And guess what? To every new cyclist, they're like, that feels weird. Because it does. And how many of you, be honest, are still kind of stuck in that 70 to 80 RPMs? Well, guess what? Every single TIFL athlete is going to follow what you do. So that's why it's critical today that we show you guys that being 90 to 95 RPMs, and Sandy, goes back to your question, you're not going to be able to push that gear at 90 to 95 unless you're going down a hill and you're going 35 miles an hour. You're just not. I can't. Dana can turn it over pretty quick because she's a sprinter and it's mainly used for sprinting, but very rarely are you going to find yourself in this kind of massive gear. Well, not even that. Does that make sense to everybody? I really want to make that clear. Yes.
But what if whoever was riding that bike before you brought it in at that gear and you get on it, you're going to have to pedal hard.
No, you just simply, when you get on the bike, just shift easier.
I know, but you got to pedal a minute or two before.
Sure, absolutely.
So
You're
you
going to have
will
to
be
put a minute or two to get it in the gear that's more economical and more efficient. That's why when you see cyclists, like if you were to look at Dana's son's team go out on a coffee ride, which means they're all riding together wearing the same kit and looking all pretty, whatever, they're all just like this. Pop, 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 pop. It looks like they're not even, it's just so pretty to watch cyclists that ride a lot. And then you get on, you'll notice that when up here, like this kid that's coming up, look at his pedaling stroke that he just climbed up the hill. That's efficient. But most new cyclists are in such a big gear that they can't do, they just don't make the combination of, wait a minute, 85 is way more efficient than 70. It doesn't make sense, just like the gearing doesn't. It's your job to make sure that they understand that higher cadence is more efficient. If you're going the same speed, let's say 15 miles an hour, and one of you is pushing a big gear and the other one's just tick, 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 the person that's going 85 to 95 RPMs is going to have way more at the end because you're burning matches. I'm sorry. Mariko. Yes, Mariko.
What's the best way to measure your RPM?
With a cadence sensor. Bike computer, and they're all so cheap now.
Something I know.
Absolutely. Because how many of you gotten on your bike before and just starting to understand the whole cadence thing and got on and started doing 90 RPMs and going, nope, this is too weird? Any of you? Or did everybody adapt pretty quickly? Yeah, no, everybody's like, this is weird. And it's crazy because elite athletes, when I had my training centers before COVID, would come in and do that. They'd pedal at 70, 80. And then when I coached them up, when they took it out on the road, they're like, oh my God, it was a game changer. It's like, you've been racing for 25 years. How did you not know that's more efficient? Because they never learned. If you can go at 20 miles an hour at 90 RPMs or 20 miles an hour at 70 RPMs, I'm sorry, but you're going to be way more efficient. If you were to watch Dana ride, when she's getting ready to go up for the sprint, it's like tick, 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 tick. Like the leg speed is like that. It's like chopping wood or a blender. Got it? So you guys are going to be up and you're going to be doing that. And you're going to show us how to do 90 RPMs. How do you get it to 90 RPMs? What dictates it? It's terrain and your strength. That would dictate what gear you're in, dictates what gear you're in. Got it?
So we should, in my head, fewer RPMs means I'm building strength. And this just clicked for me like, oh, strength training off
Do that in the gym.
so that we can get on the bike and be strong.
Now,
Okay.
now there is an argument though, because again, I want to talk about Dana as an example. Dana, when we go out on rides, she does force workouts, which means she's in a low gear, but there's a design purpose to create more type 1 muscles so that when she goes to sprint, she lights everybody up. But for the purposes of this clinic, absolutely not. You're not building leg strength, you're actually fatiguing your legs. The simple act of pedaling your bike will create leg strength. I've been riding as long as Dana, but you should see her dad, God rest his soul. He was jacked. My mom is 105 pounds. That's why I was given these legs. But they're still efficient and they still work, and I'm still building strength, and my legs are really strong, but it's because of years of cycling that have created that leg strength, not pushing 70 RPMs. That makes sense? So anybody that tells you you are doing leg strength workout, but you're going to be dead at the end of a bike ride. And you feel it. It's kind of like, and your ability to be able to respond to a stop light, stop sign, green light, squirrel, whatever, is far less reaction time if you're pedaling 70 than it is at 90, because you can accelerate quicker because you have less gear on you. Make sense? All right.
I'm just gonna add, that's a good point. It also makes you way smoother in the group. If you're pedaling 70 RPMs and you're trying to in a pace line, your accelerations and decel, you're gonna be so much more herky-jerky. So and that would be a neat thing to do. I mean, I don't know if we have time we wouldn't do it here, but it'd be a fun thing to see. And actually teach the teaching point of why 90 RPMs is good. It just makes you a smoother rider. Number one, you're doing it for efficiency. You're gonna last longer if you're pedaling 90 RPMs for 2 hours than if you're doing it at 60. And basically all you're doing, you're saving that leg strength for when you need it. Doesn't mean like you can't pedal 70 ever. Well, if you're on a hill, yeah, we say keep 90, but there are times, honestly, if I'm dead tired, I will keep in a bigger gear and I will get out of the saddle. Not, like I said, any little change up I can do to get a little bit extra energy, and that's just when I'm desperate. But that 70 RPMs, that if you are starting out your ride doing that, you're immediately using leg strength that you don't have to use. So that's why you're using 90 RPMs at first, and then that way you can save that leg strength for the hill, for later in the ride, for any other time. So think of it that way. When you start out 70 RPMs, that means you're already doing 3 plates. When you really pedal 90, you can just be doing 1 plate. So that's a way to maybe help explain that to your mentees.
for you. Because again, I think the whole reason why we approached Esme about this is because we were teaching the clinics. There was verbiage and terminology and safety issues that we're running into that created this. You guys are the bosses now, and you guys are gonna, we have, what I understand, we have 5 athletes that have never, ever ridden a bike before in their life. Be prepared. Does that make sense? After Dana and I potentially get with them and show you mentors on how to do it, today you guys are gonna be coaching us back. Got it? So, is everybody comfortable with understanding the 90 to 95 RPM? No, I'm not asking you if you've done it. I'm asking you if you understand the concept of pedaling 90 RPMs.
Yes.
Okay, how many of you guys have 2 chain rings on the front? How many, well, first of all, let me preface this by saying, how many of you have no clue?
I have 2 or 3.
Hey, I prefer honesty over anything. Because again, you're going to get the question, what's the benefit of 2 versus what's the benefit of 1 or what's the benefit of 3? 3 is really old school. You will never see a bike being manufactured that has 3 on the front.
It's just like
The triple chain ring on the front was so that you could have more gears to climb up a mountain. So if you go to the really small one, you can climb a mountain. But guess what the manufacturers and the engineers figured out? We'll change the back versus making 3 in the front. So they'll make more gears available in the back and make 1 versus having 3 and having less in the back. Does that make sense? So you're having to do a lot more shifting. The problem is, how many of you guys have 3 chain rings? Raise your hand. How many of you with 3 chain rings have shifted and the chain came off? None of you?
the house.
Shelly. Happens a lot. So then the engineers got together and were like, well, this is stupid. Every time you shift, because the front derailleur is what the thing that shifts it, has to do so much shifting, whereas in the back it's incremental. But in the front, it's having to jump here and then jump here. And then back down and then back up and then back down. They're like, forget it, get rid of the 3, let's go to 2. And then now, like my bike, they're coming up with figuring out a way to make it just 1 on the front, so you don't have, I don't have a left shifter on my bike. If you have 2, you will have a left shifter. So today, you're gonna show us in this circle that we call top 48, because there's 48 parking spots, how to shift big to small, how to shift rear without thinking about it. I had a great question. It's like, well, when I'm riding on this new bike that I've got that's new, I have to look down and see. Wow. Can you imagine being in a group and having to do that?
No, you take them all out.
And then I was asked, which is another great question, well, how will I know? There's one word that you're gonna hate to hear, and that's experience. That's it. You're gonna have to shift, and you're gonna have to feel what gear feels right to get you to 85 to 95. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How do you avoid the cross chain?
How do you avoid the cross chain? So that is a wonderful question, and I'm let Dana talk about that because she enjoys talking about cross. First of all,
What does that mean?
what's cross chaining? So cross chaining is when you're in the very big one in the back, which is the easiest gear, thank you, and the big in the front, which is the hardest gear. That stretches the chain out big time. So when you go to shift, the bike goes, something ain't right here. The chain will jump off, the chain will anger, it'll be whatever. So cross chaining is when you're in the big gear in the front and the big gear in the back. And the best way to avoid that is to shift the back towards the middle a little bit, then shift big to small, small to big. Got that?
That's why I haven't got my chain out. You taught me.
Because Shelly said I taught you that. There we go. Yes, Rachel.
Can I ask a question about
Yeah, and I'll let you know if we're getting to it or not.
Okay.
Go for it.
If you were a total beginner and you wanted a helmet brand, if you were like, hey, I haven't bought a helmet, what brand would you suggest?
Not Walmart.
Amen. Amen.
But it's like, and I know it needs to be MIPS, like it needs to have an expiration date.
But
is
Walmart
there
has their bell MIPS.
brand,
They do now.
or is there like a?
It's like cycling saddles. It's
just
what
has to
fits
take
right
it
and it has the protection that you need.
And the cool colors.
And the cool colors and the ventilation. Hey, look, they're just like bikes. You can
One
spend.
of the mentors will tell you that you're wearing it wrong.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
Well, and sadly, we're going to go over helmet fitting later. Okay. So it's a critical too because, again, unfortunately, we use middle school kids as the prime example because when we go to get these kids, when they go from the classroom into the band room where all the bikes are, they put the helmets on and it's like, oh my God, what a disaster. Because some are like this, some are like this, some put them on backwards. No, we're going to go through that because, again, it's a safety measurement. It's safety, safety, safety. So we will go over it, but picking a specific brand is like telling you what kind of pizza you should eat. It's like whatever fits and whatever you like and whatever color is best.
Like, is there any that like are like?
Again, nothing that has...
If it has mix,
Walmart, not... Yeah.
Things on the top.
Yeah, you'll know... The dragons and the sparkly, twinkling little unicorns are actually good helmets because they're made by Trek and all the good companies. Just don't go to Walmart. Make sure you get a brand that's got MIPS or some sort of shock protection on it. Because if you're spending less than $30 or $40 on a helmet, it's your brain. Trust me, from somebody who's had multiple concussions, it saved my life. It has saved my life. So don't take your brain for...
Yeah, I would say make sure it's MIPS and the dial. Oh, yeah. In the back. I think most do at least have the dial now, but not all. So if it has
it's got a dial in the back and it
helps
fits right.
And MIPS, then go for color.
Start with safety first, then go color and ventilation and weight. Color first.
Color 100% first, then you see if that color fits.
Know your audience.
Know your audience, Chad. Know your audience. Color first. But make sure after that, then it's got... Did I help you? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to avoid the question, but in the end, it's... There's, like Dana said, 3 contact points. Fingers, feet, butt, and then your helmet. You don't contact that unless it's dangerous. Make sure that is your brain is protected because it literally saved. There's one crash that I had about 10 years ago with one of my clients, and it was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, I had a torn ankle and I had a concussion for 3 years, and I literally thought, not to scare you guys, I thought she was dead.
Oh yeah.
She ended up being okay. I'm the one that was screwed up for years, but it was my helmet that saved my life. Period. And don't think. Oh, this is such a close thing for me. The first pedal stroke you have, you should always have your helmet on. Because I just saw a young kid racing, his dad almost died because he thought he was just going to go to the end of the street to his mailbox and back. And he hit the curb and he went down without his helmet on. And thank God he's still alive, but he's going to have some issues. So your helmet is always number one. I don't care if you have your tennis shoes on or whatever. Essentially what we're going to do is use this entire parking lot, and all I want to do, and again, you guys are going to, we're going to get you up, we're going to stretch a little bit, and we're going to watch Fran, and what we want to do is, first of all, you guys are going to tell me and Dana and I, whether Fran is shifting up, which is easier, or down. So we're just going to call it easier or harder. I'm not going to say up or down. Neither is Coach Dana. Everybody got that? Yep. And then everybody's going to do it. No resistance. Now, what about her cadence, though? Does that look good? No. I think it looks awesome, personally. Every single elite cyclist will be like, that looks really good. And if it looks weird to you because you're not comfortable with it yet. Now, Fran, shift gear 1 gear down. Which is 1 gear what? Harder. Thank you. Notice how her cadence, everybody know what cadence means? Same thing. Leg speed, turn over. All right, now shift another one, Fran. Now, what's the terrain? Is it flat, uphill, downhill, about evenish? Flat-ish. Okay. Watch her cadence drop because of terrain and leg strength. Good, Fran. All right, go to the next one. Can you turn off assist? Okay, good. I was going to say, because that's going to screw everything up if she's got a fist on. Now, what happened to her cadence? It's slowed down. Why is it slowed down?
Harder.
Because she's in a harder gear. Is she in a bigger gear to make it harder or a smaller gear in the back? Smaller. Yes, amen. You get it. All right, Fran, next one. Now, do you see? She's putting the same effort in, but what is happening to her cadence?
Slowing.
Look at that thing. It's going to take her head off. Now, remember, though, if you've got a one by, she's going to cross chain, but it's designed to be that way. You only cross chain if you have 2 gears in the front, 2 chain rings. Has everybody got that?
When you say chain rings, are you talking about?
Why don't we
Chain
have,
rings are the 2 things in the front.
why don't we have Kristen
You
do
got a
it
small
since she's
chain
got the
ring and a
2?
big chain ring. That's what they're called. All right, now Fran is going to go down to her very biggest gear, and then we're going to have Kristen do it.
Right.
Now watch what happens. Same terrain, same everything, but what changes here? Tell me. Does anybody notice any difference? Why would she be in that gear in this kind of terrain? What would you guys tell your athletes?
She wants to work her thighs.
Oh, she wants to get her workout in, or she wants to develop leg strength, or none of the above. It looks silly. It looks inefficient. Now, if you're new to it, you're like, that looks fine to me. It's because you're not there yet. And that's what we have to learn. Everybody give Fran a hand. All right, Kristen, same thing. But now we go to a bike that's got what, Sandy? 2 what? 2 chain rings. Everybody see that? She's got 2 on the front versus 1.
On the front here, by the consistency.
All right, now what she's going to do, let's go ahead and do the easiest gear that you've got. Before she shifts, what is her easiest gear that Kristen has got?
Small in the front, biggest in the back.
Smallest in the front, biggest in the back. Amen. End of story. When you have these clinics, you are going to have people that show up with 1 by, 2 chain rings, or 3 front chain rings, and that's where it all goes sideways. I don't know what I'm doing. You pray in the future that everybody's just got 1 in the front so that we don't have to do this crap. But we've got to do this crap. Because we're going to get people going to eBay going, this is $20. So I'm going to get it. All right? All right, Kristen. So what, everybody look at it, and then I'm going to let Dana walk it through, but what do you see right there? She's in her what?
She's getting there. She's not
Thank you. Who said that? She's getting there. Liz said that. She's shifting up. She's getting to the point.
Shifting
Now,
easier.
can anybody put it in your easiest gear, Kristen.
in the back.
Nope, you went the opposite way in the back. See what I'm talking about? There we go. Now we're cooking with gas.
It is. It's
Now, this is an exaggeration of 90 RPMs because clearly she's pogoing. Anybody know what that means? She's bouncing a lot because she doesn't have enough resistance under her wheel. Right. All right, next. Go ahead, Dave. Next gear. Would that be the kind of gear that you guys would think you'd ride on this road? Probably still what? Too easy?
Too easy.
Thank you. You all are getting it. Too easy right now. Next.
And so when it's too easy, it's just a shift to make more resistance. So if someone used the word resistance, that's another one I use instead of
harder. Harder.
Resistance is a
more
great word.
resistance, making it harder. You don't have enough resistance, you're spinning too much.
More.
How many of you guys, Dana, how many out of this group do you think are probably more guilty of spinning too much versus pushing too big of a gear?
I'm guilty of it.
Too big of a gear.
I would say most are too big of a
100%. Yep.
Everything.
Because it feels weird and it looks weird unless you're accomplished enough to get it. All right, next.
More, Kristen, more.
Harder.
Harder, Kristen.
Harder, I like it. Harder, not and easier. Harder. Which way is she shifting to make it harder?
Down.
Now she's getting to the point where if Dana and I rode by her, we'd be like, that looks pretty good. That looks really good. Next gear. Harder. All right, go a couple more for us, Kristen, so they can see a definite difference.
Keep pedaling.
Paddle.
Now it's starting to get what? A little mushy, a little ugly, a little harder. In order. Now, what's the difference? Anybody notice the difference? If she's pedaling 90 RPMs in a harder gear, is she going to go slower or faster?
She's going slower.
Faster.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Right now she's going slower. Is she strong enough to keep doing it?
One more gear. Watch her go down one more.
Go harder.
Now, can anybody look at that and tell me if she's in the big chain ring or the small chain ring in the front?
Small.
She's in the small chain
Small.
ring. And she's still got that much resistance. Can you imagine if she was in the big chain ring? Well, guess what? We're going to show it. All right, now, here's the tricky part. Right, Dane? It's when she shifts, now she's out of gears in the back. What does she do now?
She would be cross chain.
Yeah, if you did it.
Because you can cross chain little to big too.
Yep.
As well as big to little.
Should she shift from big chain ring to small chain ring now, or should she shift in the middle of her gear in the back?
To be kind to your bike, you're going to shift in the back first. So you shift the cassette up. So it's going to make it easier to pedal at first before you make that big shift in the front. So you make the small change in the back first before you do that big change, and that's going to minimize your chance of dropping the change. And it's kinder to your bike, less chance of breaking the derailleur.
Now, do you see that in the back she's got it kind of in the middle? Now she can switch from small to big. Go ahead, Kristen, switch small ring to big ring. Watch the big change. It won't shift up.
Oh.
All right, I think we'll get it now. She's gonna push both of them, and then that'll kick it up. Now it's up. Now go ahead and pedal. So now watch the incremental changes now that she's in the what gear in the front, the big chain ring or the small one?
Big.
She's in the big. Watch the incremental changes when she makes shifts in the back. Watch how much it changes. Is it gonna go down?
Easier.
Oh, there you go. It looked like it shifted. Now she shifted easier, which is what? She went up or down?
She went up.
Right. Now go down. Click 4 or 5 down. Watch the change. See that? Go a couple more. There we go. This is what we see most of the time for beginner cyclists. They're in just too big of a gear. And then they get left behind because they can't respond quick enough. When you're in a big gear, if there's a small acceleration with 2 or 3 people, you really have to push hard to get back. All right?
So great for beginner cyclists because one, if you're riding in a big gear, then you got to add another step when you come to a stop. Because if you're riding in a big gear, you're pedaling your 70 RPMs, you're already using a lot of leg strength, you're already tiring yourself out. You come to a stop sign and you're a new cyclist, so you're already tired because you're also new. You come to a stop sign, you're in your bigger gear because that's what you've gotten used to riding in, and now you're starting from a stop in a bigger gear. So ideally, then if you are going to ride in that pedal gear or that big gear, you teach yourself to shift to an easier gear, shift easier before you ever come to a stop, before you ever do a U-turn. But hey, if you get used to riding 90 RPMs and in a lighter gear, maybe that's one less thing you have to think about when you come to a stop or a U-turn. So it all kind of has a trickle effect. That whole being in that ideal cadence range has a big trickle effect to everything else too.
All right, so everybody grab their helmets. We're gonna. All right, do you guys see Liz? The harder gear she goes into, if she keeps 90, the faster she goes, right?
There you go.
And then Liz, the last couple of gears, watch how fast. Now it's a decision of the gear ratio that she's gonna be in is too fast for the terrain, so she's gonna have to find that balance. Ignore this doesn't exist. What in the back is different?
Her cassette is tiny.
Her cassette is tiny. So if she got into the hills or the mountains, what would happen to Lily?
She would suffer.
So look at now. Lily is gonna have legs like Dana. She's pedaling with this thing. I'm kidding. But look at the back. This is so small compared to the rest of the bikes out here. So when she goes on a ride, and this is what you're going to have to tell your athletes, when she goes on a ride, she's going to be at an advantage or a disadvantage.
Depends upon whether it's flat or not.
Depends on whether it's flat or not. Right, Allie. Right, Hillary. Right. Correct. 1,000%. She is at a disadvantage. Now, does it mean that she won't be able to stay with the group? No, because she might be a stronger cyclist. But how does technology from 25 years counter that?
Front. It's in the front.
They put a triple on the front. Especially with the triple.
Always shift the back before you go to the front.
On your gear with a cassette. Unless you're on extreme terrain, leave it here, you're gonna be in a small chain ring. Good place to start, small chain ring, and middle of the back cassette.
Well, we did that 3-hour ride the other day. How often were you in the big chain ring versus the small chain ring? You probably were never in your big ring.
I think I was ever.
Yeah. And newer cyclists have a tendency to start in the big chain ring because they figured that's the way it goes. No. If you have 2 in the front, start the small ring and make your changes in the back first. Teach them that way. Don't teach them with the front yet. The front doesn't
We've taught them
exist.
before exactly that. So
Did
if
you,
they
Kristen?
if they have a hybrid, it's flipped. But
Correct.
we tell them to be in the small in the front and leave it there.
Yes.
So can you repeat
And then-
that loudly for everybody? Because that's a mentoring.
So from a standpoint of mentoring, Kristen said removing the hybrids, which is probably a small percentage.
Not
athletes.
Not with the athletes.
Athletes all have hybrids.
Okay, so then with the athletes, it would be, if it's 2, you keep it in the big
the
chain
middle.
ring, because the gear ratio on hybrid bikes are designed more for just pedaling in the neighborhood and stuff. They're not designed for triathlon. Got it?
Usually the hybrids have 3, and we
Yeah,
tell
even the
them to
older-
be in 2.
Yeah.
In the middle.
In the middle.
And then only do the changes on
On the back.
the right side.
On the rear. And then once they get more experience like you guys are, because you're going to get that question. Again, we're preparing you guys for the question, well, what happens? Why do I need the big one?
Glen Eagles.
To go faster. To go faster. But that's not, you're just educating them now. So it's beautiful that you guys are telling them to keep it in the middle.
If there's 3.
If there's 3, and if there's just 2 on the hybrid. And again, you guys, when it comes down to the classes, it's the hybrids are always 100%, and we were going to go over this, going to be a disadvantage.
Yeah.
100%. And you'll see some athletes out there, which we were going to go over this, that have bikes where you can get down in an aero position, and those are $5,000 or $6,000, and you're buying speed at that point. And does it work? 100%, absolutely. But you don't need that for that. This is a wonderfully comfortable bike. But if she's going to race against the clock, there is no way that she's going to beat Sandy's. If she was to compare, if Sahara's on that bike and this bike, 100% of the time that bike would go faster.
Right.
Every time. But this is about. This is about teaching them how to ride bikes safely and having fun. If they decide after this, Sahara goes, you know what? I'm going to spend the money and get myself a Pinarello.
Go for it.
Sell your house.
Mortgage it.
Mortgage it. Second mortgage.
Chad, I think
But again, when it comes down to triathlon, you have the extreme beginners and then you have the elites, and you will never see an elite show up with this because they realize it's a disadvantage.
But I think a lot of our new athletes want the bigger wheels, the small
Yes.
wheels.
As long as you
intimidate.
guys educate them, just tell them
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Let them get comfortable on the bike. Ride this bike. Matter of fact, who would spend that kind of money on an expensive bike until they know that they want to do it? Now, what your job as coaches is not to tell them that this bike sucks, because it doesn't.
No.
It serves a purpose.
This is how you ride
It
how to
serves
say
a
it well.
purpose in what Sahara is enjoying doing. Is last clinic she came to, she was on this bike, and we had a blast watching her do it. But if they're going to come to you and say, well, how do I get faster? Because that's 100% going to be a question. I just did my first one. How do I get faster? Training and equipment, period. Into it on this session because I think everybody that you're going to be teaching in the mentor athlete class is not going to be talking about descending and climbing. You just won't. But
Honestly, we're probably not.
the trick is that when you're going down a hill, as you're going up the hill, you always shift the rear first before shifting big to small.
making like the little jumps.
Small jumps.
Yes.
Then the big
Yes.
one. Bingo.
Yes.
And the biggest mistake that everybody makes when they're getting ready to go up a hill is they hit the left first. They go from big to small, and all of a sudden it's
And
like,
that's how you like drop the chain.
and then you fall over and whatever. You shift the back first
too big a
incrementally to find a gear, and if that doesn't work, then you go small to big or big to small. And again, it's nuance. It's not perfect until you become more proficient at it. That's a good question. All right, now braking. Dana and I saw on the internet
Which is wrong. Which is wrong.
It must be true.
Whoever thought of this, it's just crazy to me. That's why you always check ChatGPT, I guess.
That don't work either.
When you're riding a bike, the biggest thing in braking is that most people grab the left first.
Ooh, bad.
And the internet says 70-30 left brake to right.
No.
Power, which is true, but you don't want to be hitting that front brake when you're a beginner just because it's better braking power, because you will do an
Can you
ending.
believe that? 70-30 left to front. No. And thank you. You guys have been taught right. I don't know whether it was me or somebody else. It's always brake rear first, then the front, which is left. Right is what?
Right.
Right is rear. In braking and in shifting. Right is rear. So, what Dana's going to do is she's going to show you what it looks like. Well, can you? Oh, yeah. Do you have enough gears to do that? She's going to hit the left brake first, and you can see what happens. And especially with bikes with disc brakes, you hit that front brake first, you become a projectile. And has anybody ever accidentally done that, hit a lot of fistful of brake on the left side and gone, whoa, that was scary? Because what happens, think about it like this from a physics standpoint. If you're trying to get a bike, a vehicle to brake at speed that's human powered, and you do left brake first, it's got to decide on whether it's propelling the bike forward or stopping quickly. The brake creates kind of a drag kind of fiction, whereas the left just stops it. Just like that. So it's more right, then add some left in. Everybody got that?
Do people panic and hit both?
Oh yeah, and then there's the panic when you hit both, and then that was going to be the next thing, but you never do that.
Right.
Because the problem is, has anybody been in a situation when you're in a group and you grab both brakes, and then all of a sudden you've got somebody hitting you from behind?
Yes.
Because you grab the because if the person behind you is doing what they learned at our camps and clinics, your focus should be 6 bike lengths ahead, not the wheel in front of you. Right. And if you're grabbing a fistful of brakes, that bike almost comes to a stop. What's the person that's steering at your rear wheel going to do?
Crash.
They're grabbing a fistful too. And then we have dominoes. So that's why when you're braking at speed, which is what I'm going to show, Dana's going to show you, she's going to do left brake first, and you're going to see the bike just kind of fishtail a little bit, and it's all left brake she's going to use, and then she's going to use the rear brake, and you're going to see the braking mechanism, what it looks like, physically looks like. Like, it gives me heart palpitations to think about grabbing a fistful of left. So that's why I'm going to let the world champ do it.
That's why you should be doing it.
I can't because I don't have a battery.
It's your workers' comp.
But there is that, I mean, it is true because it's braking power, and you do have the emergency stop where they teach stuff, and that's all because of force equals mass times acceleration. So if you're going to hit something full bore, by golly, yeah, if you take off some acceleration, you're going to maybe lessen your damages. So it all makes sense when you think about it physically, just like we've shown you. But yeah, for teaching beginners, we want to focus on that right rear, not only just for the rear cassette, for the subtle changes that we just talked about, but also for that rear brake.
If you hear it, it's better than seeing it. And what I mean by that is if you have your chin up and you're prepared and constantly surveying your braking, your ability to be able to outmaneuver a crash, a squirrel, a rock, a hole, whatever, is exponentially better. And beginner cyclists are always focused here. They're looking at the rear wheel in the front of them. How many of you have been in a ride with a group? Most of you? How many of you learned that you do not look at that rear wheel in front of you because it's doing stuff that, it's doing crazy stuff that's not really happening up here? A deer? A squirrel? I mean, anything's going to happen, but if your chin is not up and focused that way, and if you notice that the braking was a little bit more subtle because I had my chin up, and it kept the weight and the balance of the bike a little bit more stable. Whereas if I'm looking down, that shifts the weight forward on the bike. So if you're hitting left brake and looking down, that could be no bueno. Got it?
Got it.
All right, so quick break, water, whatever, and then we're gonna have you guys in groups of like 6 accelerate. Try the left, try the right, chin down, chin up. Everybody got it?
Just for posture. and shoulders hunched. So all the other subtle things you can be looking for that you can be remindful of riders, especially just remember that beginner mentality. Everything's fearful. So even though we're working on a skill, try to, though you're focused on braking, try not to also have your shoulders hunch up while you're focused on braking. So we start to slowly bring them into riding's a fun, calming thing. Even though it might feel scary, we can still approach it with a calm demeanor, mindset, and body structure too. Okay? And then the shift up. So remember that too. It doesn't hurt to start to get in their mindset too. Whenever you're doing any kind of slow maneuvers, be in an easier gear. Make it easier. See, I use the word shift up. So shift easier before you come to that stop. So I add all that in because that's where we're going to go. But our first step is make sure they can brake. And then start looking at the other things to remind them. But so now that you guys are a step ahead, you can be looking as Chad and I look. We're not just, when we watch people, we're not just watching the braking. We're also going to check the shoulder. But start incrementally. Don't tell them when they get off that first one, well, you didn't brake soon enough. You were past the line when you stopped. Plus your shoulders were hunched. Plus you didn't shift. Just get them to know the braking first. And then start adding on all the other nuances that are going to make them really enjoy this sport. Because that's what we want. We want them to really enjoy it. And that's where we add those other pieces, but not all at once. So first is number one, safety. Work on the braking, get the braking down. And then as we start adding all those other cues that we know, it's going to make cycling more enjoyable for them. Once we know that they are a safe, secure rider, we can put them out there and have them out riding. All right. So we'll get helmets on, and we can do 2 lines, and we'll do the loop like Chad did, opposite directions, and we'll come up, and the goal is to work on the brake, stop at the cone. Actually, let's do half and half, because we can have half of you kind of watching and evaluating, while half are actually moving. So we'll have
rear brake again, right rear, right rear, right rear.
Come on, Laura! Yeah!
Hey, real quick, what did you guys notice different that they did this time that they didn't do last time?
Helmets up.
Everybody had their chin up. It made all the difference. You could tell immediately, could you not? All right, my North Carolina math could not get me there, so you guys did it for me. Here's the thing, is that when they're going down the hill, it's more critical that they do that 70-30 than any other time. Because what's going to happen, who was it, Rachel? Who was it that when they were going so quick and they started hitting the brake and they started coming forward on the bike? So here's, in that scenario, when you're at higher speed, you just got to slide back a little bit more. Okay. Everybody got that? The faster you're going, the more you got to slide back, because when you start grabbing those brakes and you're going fast, your body inherently, because physics, will send you forward on the bike. And I don't know who it was, but they figured it out. When they were coming to the line, they were actually coming off the saddle to put their foot down, which is an advanced move, but they were doing it as they were braking, and had a tendency, especially with the left brake, had a tendency to throw them really far forward. And there are times when you will find yourself in a situation where you get thrown forward. Okay. Ended up being the best thing ever for my coaching and for my golf. It's because I learned how to do it right from the jump. And if we're just going out with the athletes and teaching them, we have some women that are joining that don't even know how to pedal a bike. They don't know how to do it. So it's incumbent upon you guys to identify them and then do skills. Assess at the beginning so you don't run into issues with safety. Because if you've got a group of riders that don't know how to ride, it's like, I don't know if you've ever dropped a water droplet inside of an anthill, but it scatters. And that's what happens with everybody who's riding around, athletes that don't know how to ride. Everybody gets away from them, and that creates that whole crossing wheels and not having that comfort level. So assessing your athletes is the biggest thing from a safety standpoint. So I applaud it. Doing skill work like this, that's why we're having you guys do it, so then you can take it and translate it to them.
And using the brakes, of course, is paramount for safety, and it's not as natural as you think. And I learned that the hard way. It's like people haven't ridden a bike for a long time, and that coordination of hitting the brake and coming to a stop, and again, nerves are into it, forgetting to come off the saddle, and then they still fall even though they came to a stop because they were so focused on stopping they didn't realize, oh, I gotta put my foot down and my butt down too. Or they come to a stop, they put their foot down, but they don't take their butt off the saddle, and then they get off. Now that you have no momentum to help you stay up, and so some of the most awkward falls happen from a standstill, and then unfortunately that tends to also be when you injure because it's happening in slow motion. You do the natural thing and put your arm out to try to stop it, which is never going to work, and it's only going to end up in you being potentially breaking your wrist and collarbone had you not had the time to react and stayed buckled up. So knowing how to use the brake and just doing a lot of little easy skill, we want to. I know I'm guilty of this. I want to be on the road. I want to be doing the fun stuff, but you got to slow down in order to speed up. You got to slow down to be safe. So doing the braking, I even suggest a slight downhill, even doing this, and then having a whistle blow, and then they just constantly keep brake, foot down, butt down, brake, foot down, butt down. Don't think that you almost can't do that enough until everyone really looks coordinated, because that coordination for people who haven't been on the bike and that fear, it takes a while to get that down. And I learned that the hard way. I didn't have enough time when we were doing our corporate event. I just thought, this will be like a 3-minute drill. And then you realize, oh my gosh, no, some of these people are really awkward when it comes to stopping. And it's not there, again, a lot of it's coming over that fear and that repetition. And as Chad said, experience, how does experience come? Through repetition. Repetition brings experience brings knowledge, and brings confidence. So that constantly, don't ever think, you almost can't skill and drill too much with beginners.
What did you guys find when you're doing the braking and you're coaching it, teaching it to others, in your own personal experience, what did keeping your chin up to your ability to be able to stop? Can anybody chime in on what they felt, what they thought? Yes.
I would say, we tend to say, you go where your head goes.
Your head?
You're looking. And so if you're looking down, that's how you're going to go.
Oh, it just warmed my heart. Your bike will always go where your chin points. 1,000%. And we've told that at the clinics. And I learned a valuable lesson about coaching. And Dana and I, too, we had to talk about it. It used to be, I used to say, look where you want to go. Well, you know what people would do? They'd go, they'd go like that. And I'm like, that didn't work. So then I came up with the chin, because your bike will always go where your chin is pointing. So if you're looking down, here's what happens. And the reason why it's a loaded question, because this is the people with the clipless pedals. When you go to stop and you look down, with clipless pedals, there's some weird thing that happens in the universe that you fall over. It's just strange, because you're looking down, you're trying to look at a pedal, you're trying to get your foot out, you're trying to do all this stuff, and then that's when you just go, and it's at a stoplight, and you're embarrassed, and you're looking at the people, and you're waving at them, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. But now, if you do it, when you go to brake with how much on the right? 70-30. Then you go, then you can clip your foot out, because you should always be able to do things with keeping situational awareness and your chin up. It's come into a break, and then you just clip your foot out and you step. That's it. But what most people do when they're in clipless pedals, when they come to a stoplight or they see somebody in front of them, they grab a fistful, then they look down, then they try to clip out.
And they're already on the
It's going to happen.
Those are the worst falls.
And they're the worst, like Allie said, they're the worst falls, because A, it's embarrassing, but B, they hurt. They hurt. I've been in races and crashed at 30 miles an hour, and they didn't hurt nearly what they did of me falling down on my bike.
It's like you're going in slow motion.
Yeah, it's like you're slow motion. You're like, this is going to hurt. Do I put my hand out or whatever? So again, when you're coming to a stop sign, especially what Dana said, when you're going downhill, you always teach them to keep their chin up, because you'll see one where they drop their head and then they try to grab, and it's going to happen, even if they're clipped in or not, because it's always like this. Always. All right, so Dana's favorite section of we figured out how to stop. Now she's going to show you the simple and easy way to start, which is a weird thing to say, because everybody starts. No, there's a great way, and it's called the power pedal.
And prior to getting your power pedal is that gear. So that's a step people usually forget. It's great to be in a power pedal, but if you're in the biggest gear, if you're in the hardest gear, heaviest gear, most resistance, you're gonna have to have a heck of a leg on your body and a heck of a strong quad to be able to push down that pedal, especially if you're on a slight incline. So that's where, again, prior to being in the power pedal position is being in a good gear, which typically is the small chain ring and somewhere in the middle of your quad. But it also depends on your leg strength. If from a stop, that's really hard for you to get that power pedal when you're in the middle of the cassette, then you're gonna make it easier and you're gonna bring the chain up here. So again, it goes by feel, but like we said before, great starting point for most people is the small chain ring, unless you're on a triple, then it'll be the middle one, and middle of your cassette. And then have them feel for it. How's that feel when you push down? Are you having to push down a whole lot? Well, then make it easier. If it doesn't feel like enough resistance, well, make it harder, move it down.
You do that before you stop. You're not going to be changing gears at the stoplight. You're going to do that. And that's where the anticipation and keeping the chin up. There's a stop sign right down there. I'm going to shift my gears to anticipate the start, not the stop. So it goes, pick your gear, 70-30, chin up. Then that way when you go to start, and Dana's going to show you the power pedal, you're ready. How many of you started and you're in too big of a gear and you're like, I got to get off the bike, shift the gears. No, you anticipate before you get there. Is it a hill? Is it flat? Is it downhill after the stop sign?
Is it best when you first like getting out on your bike to manually like do what you did and get it into the right gear? Or
That is such a great question. It's such a pro move. Do you prepare for it? Like if I do something dumb, which is inherently every hour of every day, and I go to the stop sign and I'm not ready for it, I can't do it because my battery's not on it. But essentially I do the pro thing, and it's a pro move. Pick up the rear wheel, shift it, do that, set it down, get back on your bike. So just go, pick up your rear wheel, shift whether you want it harder or easier, shift it, turn the pedals a couple times.
I hate you because you're like, oh my God.
Some people can
No,
do it
everybody be
standing
like,
over their bike.
how did you learn that? That's cool. I guarantee it 100%.
And in the end, it does look much better than like barely getting on
Yeah.
the like, I know it seems dorky to do.
There goes the group.
When you look at the two visuals, it's much cooler to get up and change your gear than to be the last one off the line. Right?
It's like, watch this. Click, 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 boom, 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 down. What kind of sorcery was that? So, have you guys ever been in a situation, whether you have clipless or not, when you get to a stop sign and you're not in the gear that you want and you shift it a couple times? So here's a thing that really will help you guys moving forward, because most of the time what everybody does, and especially beginners, and we notice this in the kids in Georgia, they'll walk the bike forward to get the pedals. No, just hop off. Simply put the pedal where you want it and then hop back on, because you're going to end up with banged up shins and whatever. So if you find yourself in a situation, do the cool thing, hop off the bike, put it in the gear you want, and then put it in the what position? Power pedal.
And what is the power pedal position? We think of it like I love this age group because of course when we tell the middle school kids, they're like, what? An analog clock, a clock that has a 12 and a 6 and a 3 and a 9. So you gotta teach that to those kids first. If I ever, and then I realized this. Like they don't know. Like when I was telling them 2 o'clock, the 2 o'clock position. It's like, what do you mean 2 o'clock? Because they've just seen number clocks, right? They don't know that there's an actual clock where it goes like this. So we're like this, like that kind of clock. So we have 12 here and 6 here. So for most people, it's like 2 o'clock position. Most people, and again, play around with this. Other people like, no, I feel like I get a much better if I'm at 3 o'clock. So roughly anywhere from 1 to 3 is where you get a good strong start. And that's because you're gonna have one foot unclipped. Typically it's your dominant foot. I tell people it might not be. I mean, play around with it. Which foot? I would rest, and even if you're not in clipless pedals, figure out, does one foot feel better being on the ground and the other one feel better up, or is it this foot? And just do trial and error at first a few times.
How many of you guys have ever switched a foot? Gone from, I don't like the left, I want to do the right foot down? No, inherently. Okay. Just had to ask. There are some weirdos out there that are goofy foot on snowboarding, so I get it.
Wait, to wear your
Goofy foot, they don't.
Switching which foot you do?
Yeah, because I know there are some people that started with the right, they're like, after a year or so, no, I just want to clip out with my left and start with the left foot.
Okay, and that's hard. So I do that.
I could never do it.
I do that because I'm nerdy and I like trying to do things and keep my brain active because I'm paranoid and stuff. So I will forcefully, I naturally clip with my left foot. But I just for fun will say, okay, I'm going to clip with my right foot now because I just feel like it helps with that.
Remember, the foot you unclip with is the foot that's going down. I hope you guys remember that. Because if it's not, then you're going to. I had to say that.
I'm gonna unclip with this.
I'm gonna unclip with this foot and then take
hold
the
it
foot
in
this
the
clip
air.
and put it down. Doesn't work that way. And I'm sure you found that in clipless pedals and then you. Oh wait, I took out the wrong foot. Oh, okay. Anyway.
But that does lead me to your point. For those of you who are clipped in, if you're ever going to teach somebody not clip in, make yourself, before you go to teach them to clip in, do it the opposite way. That's going to help retrain you. How did I learn to clip in? And what are the steps to clipping out? Because believe me, when I try to clip out with a leg I'm not used to, my brain is like on fire. So it's a great pre-teaching tool for you if you're going to be working with people and on clipless pedals. So we have it at the 2 o'clock position.
No.
That's to give us a good strong push down and push off. Again, chins up. We're already looking next. We don't need to look down at the pedal. It's not going anywhere. So shoulders relax. Again, we're working on making them long-term, happy, comfortable cyclists. Shoulders are, even though you're starting and you might feel scared, that doesn't mean your body structure has a show of fear. So shoulders are relaxed, chins up, big breath, and strong push down. And it's a glide. There's no race that you have to get pedaling right away. As long as you get a good strong push and get some momentum, that gives you some breathing room to get collected in that other foot in, which, again, not that we're trying to make them beyond where they want to go. These are all good consecutive steps for when they do want to do clipless pedals, because same thing there. There's no race to get that second foot in. As long as you got one foot in, you got a good strong start and some momentum, I can pedal one-legged, especially once I'm clipped in, and then gradually learn to get that other foot in. So again, power pedal position, figuring out, trial and error to figure out which leg feels maybe a little bit more comfortable. And if they're beginners and they say, I have no idea, they both feel the same, here's what was told me: clip in the right foot, leave the left on the ground because you'll get less chain marks. So because if you're taking it, this foot's on the ground, you might lean your bike on your leg or whatever. So you know that.
Yes.
What was the question? I didn't hear.
I was asking if anybody had any questions because
Oh no, absolutely. There's going to be questions in this scenario.
Pedal push is great, but then how do we instruct them the other half of that? Because it's a balancing act. You're pushing with the momentum forward.
Yes.
You are lifting your other foot up,
Yes.
and you're putting your butt down.
Yes.
Is there one,
The
two,
steps
three
and the
down
mechanics
for
of that.
them?
Yeah, so that's what was going to be next. So we're going to do power, since I'm in the, which gear am I in? Am I stuck in? My easiest or my hardest? Thank you. What's that? It is, it really is. Okay, so I am definitely a right foot clipped in kind of person. Always, 1,000%, you're gonna hear me, you're gonna be sick. Every YouTube video you look at, chin up, whether it's kids, adults, or pros. So it's the chin up. That's the first mechanic. So I have my brakes on, both brakes on, my foot's here, and you'll see me, the light turns green, okay? Most newbies do this. No. What do I need to do, coaches?
Chin up.
Chin up, chin up, chin up, chin up. Here's why. Watch the difference, and that was legit. Like, I seriously was struggling because I'm not used to looking down. I'm not used to doing something that's technically wrong. Now you go power pedal, which is what Coach Dana said. My chin is up. My first thing I do is I push forward with the pedal and then up and then go. Huge. Yes, Diana.
Why are you keeping the brake like this if you already stopped?
Because when you put the brakes on, that allows you to put your foot in ready position, in power position. Because if I didn't have the brakes on, with the pressure I'm putting on my foot, it would inch the bike forward. So I'm starting with my brakes, and then when I'm ready to go, I release the brakes. So watch, that's a great question. Power pedals, braking. When I'm ready to go, I still have the brakes on. This gives me stability. Because if I try to do it without my brakes on, then it just starts all weird. Then your butt goes in the wrong place or whatever. But if you're doing it with both brakes on, this affords me. See the cool way I did that? Chin up, brakes on. Do not
unless they're on a hybrid, they're not going to be able to get on the seat before they start pedaling. Because the way road bikes are designed to give you full leg extension. Well, you can't get up on the seat and start. You just can't. Everybody's going to be starting here.
How do we break people?
We have a lot of people.
You just got to tell them you start with 2 hands on the brakes and butt on the top two. Every time.
Mentors of doing that.
Yeah. Because I mean, can anybody get on their saddle and go on their road
Some
bike?
people don't want to put up.
Well, and that's another problem we're going to go into, that their seat height is wrong.
Brakes, chin up.
Chin up.
Brakes on.
Brakes on.
And then what? Push with
Push.
this green light. Push with this first, even though you have pressure on the brakes a little bit. Now ease off the brakes. Push forward and up. Yes.
We have a lot of people, I call them skateboarders. They push and push and push and push to get the motion.
We call it Barney Rubble. For those of you who were raised in the 70s like me, Barney Rubble.
Okay, so we just have to kind of move them away from that to the power.
Absolutely.
And
Here's what's going to happen.
what? I've done it. Me
How
too.
many of you have been in that scenario where you were new, which was all of you, you got on the bike and you started doing the Barney Rubble and everybody's gone?
Yes. Yep.
And then you panic because here you are trying to do the Barney Rubble shuffle to get on your bike and to get on your seat. That's why power pedal is the most important starting position you could have. Butt down, hands on the brakes, and then push with the power pedal to get you started. Because if you're not in power pedal position, you're doing Barney Rubble.
And a lot of them are doing that because their foot's bare. In the
Down.
power pedal position, no. So one way to help break them is put them in the power pedal because then it makes this way more awkward. So if you don't let them have their pedal down here, it's
Does the power still work on hills, though?
So
I mean,
once
we
it's
have a
up,
lot of people who struggle on the hills.
Even better on the hills.
Okay.
But here, what's the most important thing, Hillary, or anybody else can fill in that question? Is your gear. You've anticipated when you got to that stop sign that the hill's coming. What am I doing wrong at the stop signs? You're not power pedal, which is the number one thing. You guys saw what I did. You don't have to get off the bike. You don't. You can do it the cool way. You're on the bike, trust me, I've been in, you'll see every elite cyclist do that because they're just stop sign, stop light, oh, whatever. No, it's now step to the side because the newbies have done it where they're doing it and they swing it around and bam, it hits the right shin. So just make sure you step off, step away, and then backpedal. And then you get it in power position, whether you're left-footed or you're right. Now, you're going to have to get off if you are in the wrong gear. But again, that's why you teach them anticipate with your chin up. You get to a stop sign, you better know what's on the other side of that stop sign or else you're doing exactly what Sahara is talking about. Wrong gear, not power pedal. Step number one is what? Chin up. Step number two is what? Brake. And then step number three is what?
Power pedal.
In whatever order, but the starting order is always the same. Sitting down, power pedal, chin up. Every time. It doesn't have to look this aggressive. It could be like this. Like that. But in the end, it all comes down to the same thing. And the reason why we teach putting on brakes, because a lot of us, what we'll do, and the more experienced ones, we'll just rock back a little bit. Like this. We'll rock back, and then we'll start like that. But the braking, I wouldn't suggest that to newbies because they just really don't know how to ride yet. So the brake is always the safest thing. It's the default mechanism for most of them because they go, oh, the brake is safety. Got it? You're going to fall down most of the time from looking down at what you're doing. Like you fall, like there's several things that you have, matter of fact, there's nothing on a bike that you should have to do that you have to look down, ever. Ever, 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 ever. Water bottle.
Questioning herself where she had to stop, like where the stop line was in the road and where she had to stop. She couldn't properly evaluate where that
Oh, she couldn't evaluate the stopping speed. It's like what the governor does.
That's what she needed to practice, and that's what was causing her to fall.
Yeah, so essentially what I mean, you decelerate quicker than you think you need to. Liz is full on, totally fine with bombing it and stopping it. It works for her. But most people don't like coming to a stoplight. Most people don't like coming to a stoplight with full speed.
Some people break.
You just track stand it.
You know what?
You track stand that shows
Who brought that question up? Esme? So Lily, that's a great question because what's another benefit of keeping your chin up when you come to a stoplight or stop sign?
You can see what's going on.
See traffic.
Who's breaking full fist and who's doing it slowly and who's waiting to do a Liz. In a group ride, you're going to have all of that.
So I should tell her, like, keep your chin up.
Keep your chin up.
Just keep your chin up
And watch and anticipate.
And just going back to that stopping point with beginners, just you being what's going on in your mind and you verbalizing it to them. Okay, we're coming to a stop. Get ready to squeeze your brakes, chin up. Which foot are you going to get your foot ready? Because sometimes, like you said, they're processing everything, watching everything going on. And the thing that seems most obvious, get your foot ready and get off the pedal, isn't obvious to them. So you being the verbals of what is not going on in their head so that they can do it successfully, and just doing that repeated practice. So if she was falling down at every stop sign, you just got to get there out here on the parking lot and doing that repeated practice and being her verbal cueing system until it becomes internalized for her for that.
The most critical thing that you guys can do as coaches is obviously your job, my guess, was to teach safety. Cycling skills next, but teach safety. And the most important thing, and this comes down to a comfort level, a lot of these athletes are not going to be able to take their hands off the handlebars. They're just not. So then that runs into an intricate thing. So what I'll do is I'll give instruction on if that's the case, but I want Dana to go over the actual instructions of turning left, right, and stopping, and objects.
For hand signals, we use the left arm straight out for the left turn. Okay? And ask for a combination of verbal. They're just going to give the verbal. I don't even give beginners a chance to use the hand signals. Just let them know this is what you're going to see us doing. You are going to communicate verbally and, work up to the point of doing the hand signal. But you want them to know what the hand signal is in case, just to get that knowledge implanted early until they have the skill to do it. And then you want to model what good cyclists do, and that's communicate with hand signals. So left turn, right turn. You'll see this in lingo. I hate it because it doesn't make sense. That's also a right turn legally.
That is from when cars didn't have blinkers.
Exactly.
And the driver would put their hand out, and it was a left or a right.
And
I
motorcycles.
I think the one that has the least miscommunication is just to use the right arm out for that. But you will see that some group rides, you will see they use the old car automobile symbol. But this is what we teach is
me,
left.
I see that as a flag.
Right. And I think you guys you decide as your group. This is what we're saying to do. If you guys decide, no, we like teaching some history and that the left one's kind of cool.
No.
But you just got to make sure you're all on the same page. You can't have some of you doing this one and some of you doing that one.
When they get more advanced and they get into a group and they see somebody not doing that, they're going to be motorcycles and cars without blinkers is the reason why we did this. But we're bicycles. We're capable of doing this and this. 100% is going to be this. 100%. Left turn, right turn. Got it? 100%.
All right, so we got our left turn, we got our right turn, and then stop. I like doing both because if I'm a front ride leader, I'm going to show stop up here because people way far behind me can't see this one. This is more traditional, and you're going to see that's what gets passed back. But I do like, I'm fine if, we just kind of do alternate so that some are, hopefully eyes are up, they see this one. So I think I recommend the front ride leader always uses this as a stop. A hand up and then also move it down, but stopping is up closed fist above or closed fist behind.
Or I do this too, that one works as well. It's just stopping. Most everybody gets it, but this and this is going to be your best, closed fist.
So again, consensus was left hand up with a fist
For the
and we're
lead,
yelling
right?
stopping, correct?
Yes.
For those that are comfortable taking their hands off the handlebars. If they're not, then it's going to have to be a verbal cue.
Yep.
And I think it's important for you guys to teach both, first the verbal cues and then the non-verbal cues. Because again, it comes down to these people are not, more than likely, not going to be comfortable taking their hands off.
And
Yeah, so slowing is, you can do this. Usually it's nonverbal. Sometimes it can be misconstrued as an object in the ground when you're doing this, because you guys, that's one of those tools that you have to be able to point out objects. Object, and some people get confused between the two. So usually it's just a nice gentle way of saying slowing, then stopping. I usually do verbal. I don't know, do you do anything for, like, unless it's mission critical, it's slow.
We didn't talk about this one. So slowing, I never use slowing before stopping. Cause my point is, if you see me saying stopping, that obviously I'm slowing. I just figured the less, the better. I only use slowing if there's something unusual, like, hey, I'm a front rider, I see a car coming out, and I'm not sure he really sees us, and if I might not be continuing the pace I normally would until I know for sure it's clear, that's when I give a slow signal.
Yep, slowing.
So I really only use it very little.
Me too, very rarely.
Great idea, because I always found that very confusing, all this slowing and then stop, because it's...
Usually that's done in more experienced groups where they're going at a higher rate of speed.
Right.
In y'all's group, you're not really going to have to say slowing. Stopping's the more critical thing.
No, we're going 6 miles.
Dana and I had a good discussion about that, Hillary. I think the less we say, the better we are. And the reason why I say that is because there's one thing, and I told Dana about it, she started laughing, that on a group ride, the A group rides in Charlotte, there used to be a guy that screamed all the time. And his favorite thing was to say is car up.
We can see it.
That's irrelevant. We hate car up. Hate it. Because the more that you scream commands, the less that people are going to listen to you.
Oh yeah.
Well, then it becomes like slow.
It's anxiety. It's anxious. Car up, car back. Car up, car back. I'm sorry, but if you're riding on the road, I'll be God darned if there isn't going to be a car coming and a car going every single second. So if you're constantly giving those commands, it's just like, oh, for the love of God, I'm stressed.
Because sometimes it depends on where you are. The car
Right.
might have passed already, or the car's turned.
So we
and
called him
it's
Car
back
Up Guy because
where's
he would
the
scream,
car?
Car up! Right. So, what about pointing at objects?
See,
Is
that
that-
looks like slowing to me all the time. I don't know what
Exactly, so that's why we don't do slowing too much. Usually it's a very firm pull, not a scream, not a yell. Here's why it's not a scream, because if I say it and Fran hears me 3 bikes back, she's going to look at my hand, then she's going to see the hole, and she's just going to say, hole right, hole left, squirrel right, or just point at it. If you point at it, then that means that people will be aware. So that's why stopping or slowing an object might get confusing. That's why Dana and I very rarely use slow. I mean, if we're on an elite group ride, we might say slowing because there's something that we really need to be paying attention to. But as far as TIFL goes, there's no reason to do slowing. Stopping, absolutely. But slowing,
And again,
Right?
this was like an internet thing. Sometimes you'll see they'll do a circle if it's a pothole and then a point if it's a dead end. And I just use point. I don't care if it's a pothole. Because you don't need to know what it is. It doesn't matter to you. You just know you're not going to hit it. So I don't need to let you know, oh, it's a pothole or no, it's a dead animal. So that's why I think slowing's okay. As long as your dead animal's this or your pothole's this. If you're doing this, then I agree. Slowing and this look the same. So
Pointing.
yeah, pointing is
Okay,
always...
pointing left, right, stopping, and our verbal cues are stopping, left,
Right.
debris.
What about clear?
No.
So here's so you know what clear does? Clear does to me is it means that it's okay for you to run the stop sign.
We're not doing that.
No, but you're always supposed to stop at the stop sign. You obey the rules of the road.
Always.
Exactly.
Always. Now, granted, there's the truck theory where if we're one big truck, we're a semi, we're moving, but still, it's your responsibility as a cyclist to look left and right. Doesn't matter whether somebody says clear or not. Because then this goes to our final point. You never, ever, 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 ever wave a car around.
Never.
Never wave a car.
Lawyer
Never
Hillary
wave a
can
car
testify. Don't do that.
Why do you not wave a car around?
You become legally
Then
liable.
because, thank you very much, you become legally liable for telling that 80-year-old woman that it was okay for pass 2 by on a turn. She goes, well, they waved me around. Don't do it. Because then you're having faith in that car driver that's driving a 2-ton truck or a Beetle that they can make it around you.
let them make the decision on whether they can get around you or not. The reason why is, again, because you're assuming that person knows how to drive around a group of cyclists. And most cars, when I got hit, and when my friends have gotten hit in a car, didn't realize how fast they were going.
Right.
And if you're waving somebody around and they're trying to go past you at 35, but yet you're going 25, they're going to have to accelerate a good bit to get around you. Then you let them pass you in a double yellowed line, blah, 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 blah. And as Hillary said, from a legal perspective, I think you become culpable at that point.
Oh, I know you do.
It depends. In North Carolina and South Carolina, laws are different.
Okay, we're in North Carolina.
So you have to, you can do 2 by, and theoretically, yes.
And is that safer to make them go around you as opposed to them squeezing by?
I will ask you the question yourself. How about this? Let's say we've got, the question was, do you go 2 by or single file? So let me ask you this. I'm going to use Waxhaw as an example because we've had a lot of battles over the past 30 years with the Waxhaw police about what's legal and what's not legal. All right? We've got a group of 50 riders. They're all together. They're single file and they're stretched out for
a mile,
a kilometer.
Yeah. Too long.
Or we've got a group of 2 that is tight and within a group and it looks like a truck.
2 is safe.
Which do you think the truck driver behind you is going to try to overcome you? Is it 2 by? They're going to try to come by you single file. Now, some of the laws state, depending upon where you were, that you must remain single file. In that case, and this is a big thing, and that's why we're going to cover a lot of it tomorrow, it becomes a safety issue. You always take up the road when you feel your safety is in jeopardy. 1,000%. And I know that when we take, like when we, the camps I used to do in Mexico, when we go and recon it, I would take up all the road, and the people I was with were like, what are you doing? And then they finally got it. They're like, because the Mexicans in Oaxaca had never seen a group of cyclists riding together. So they'd try to pass us at any opportunity. But when we went double file, they were like, nope, can't make it by there. We'll just wait. Go around the turn. Can I make it through yet? Yep, I can go. But if you're single file and you're hugging the white line, every single car is going to try to come by you. Every one. Because they think they can make it. But your safety and your life is way more valuable than pointing here, pointing there, doing stop or whatever. It's you taking up the road. And if they wail on the horn or they get mad at you because it's going to happen, which would you rather have? Be dead and then the driver like, oh, I'm sorry. Or being alive and look, I apologize, I took up the road. Yes, Hillary.
So we have beginners and novices that are weaving back and forth. So we go single file, but we go small group single file. So what we ask the mentors is, I remember you saying this a long time ago, legally we get at least 3 to 4 feet of the road.
3 to 4 feet.
Ride in the middle of that section, and that will force the drivers to go around you. So it's okay if the athletes are hugging the right side. The mentors need to take the road.
Yep.
So.
And that's why they will be safe. Then why are you kind of on the middle of the right third of the road? It's because I'm protecting me and I'm protecting you. Because cars just won't. The chances of them wanting to take a chance of getting around you, then they start thinking, oh, what if a car's coming from the other direction? I'm going to hit them. The perfect scenario and what you love is for the cars to come up and hug the yellow line as they're passing. That's the perfect scenario because they're giving you your 3 feet. The problem is most cyclists, they don't want to be in the way, so they'll hug the left line. Don't do it.
Do you see that mentality of the driver wanting to pass? When you're single file and you allow them the chance to squeeze by you, they will. Whereas when you're double, and again, it does have to do with bike handling ability.
Ability, right.
Once they have to put their life on the line because a car might be coming the other way, that's when they're going to back off. And your life is important enough to make them start to put their life on the line too, because you're already putting your life on the line out there as an unprotected road vehicle. So you got to do things to take up the road that makes them also put their life on the line. Because if you open the door to let them squeeze by, I'd say 80-85% will.
Yes.
I have a question about stopping at a light, but when it suddenly changes and we are at, even if it's like 5 people in a group, it's a smaller group, but sometimes you know that if some of us mentors are leading and some of us are sweeping, but you as a leader, you know that maybe 2 will pass and the rest of the group will stay. Or at that point, like, do you have any tips? Do you make a decision? Do I suddenly break? Because that may cause everybody to have to break quickly, and maybe they're not, you know, they don't feel comfortable enough breaking that fast, and now they're trying to go on the side to not hit you and whatnot. Or do you just go and you say, you know what, somebody's shooting, they'll just come and we'll move at some point. Like, what's the best tip?
Hitting somebody from behind on a bicycle or getting hit by a 3-ton truck, I think it's easy. It's your responsibility when you're going through an intersection as a motor vehicle, because remember, you are a motor vehicle, to follow the rules of the road. So if a light's turning yellow, what's your DNA? Are you usually somebody that squeezes the lemon, as we say, or bites the cherry? You know, it's like... But you're in a bike, remember. So my suggestion is to do neither of those two. When it turns yellow, stopping. Make it a little bit more forceful.
A prime example of that, Christine, is at the Bulls. There's a left turn before you go down to make the big loop. That light is quick, so sometimes not everybody gets through that, and then you're like, the group's
and that's going to happen every group ride.
Sometimes as you go, then it turns yellow, and then the group, and look, I mean,
and there are some people that will get through the light for somebody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again, and I think that's what you need to tell all your athletes is just, you are a vehicle. You are deemed a vehicle. You are a vehicle. So if you're breaking the rules, you can get a ticket just as much as anybody else in a car. So when it comes down to that, if you're a vehicle and you see cross-coming traffic and it's red, you're taking a calculated risk of running that red light. Same thing on a bike, except you're going to be slower and they're not going to be looking for you. So you have all these mitigating factors. They don't see you. They're not going to see you. Matter of fact, they're going to be underestimating your speed. So always, it has to be a little bit forcing. But stopping, I would rather somebody fall over to stoplight than getting T-bowed by a car. 1,000%. Then, here's the question. The second part of that is, well, what is the group that's up there to lead? Well, it's up to the leader to go, hey, we left a group behind, slow down.
So with that, also with what we were talking about before, it's okay to pull off, especially if pull off, regroup, pull off, let the 20 cars that are behind us.
If that's what you want to do.
Let them go. It's pull off and just resets everything. You can wait for your group, you can continue on, but you're kind of decreasing all that pressure to pull off.